What's up, Tyler from Plugged On. I'm here with an album review. This time I'm going to talk about the new album from Devin Townsend titled Empath. This released a few weeks ago, actually, March 29th, 2019. And this is his first record as Devin Townsend in a little bit, since I guess Z2 was part of that from 2014. But this is also just his first musical release since Transcendence from 2016, which under the Devin Townsend project name. And that was a great record. Devin Townsend, I think he's one of the most gifted, talented, incredible musicians of our time. Especially in the metal rock world. I mean, just period. I mean, anything this guy does has been very enjoyable, all the way from his early solo stuff to all the records with Devin Townsend project. I love Casualties are cool. I think it's pretty cool. Even Strapping Young Lad is awesome. He's just a very talented guy, and what I love about Devin Townsend is you just truly never know what you're going to get from him, and it's always very exciting. And the reason why I haven't reviewed this album yet, why it's taken me a little bit longer, is one, I've just been very busy with my personal life. But two, there's just a lot to soak in with this album that I just felt like I needed to listen to. Every time that I sat down, I was like, I think I might review Devin Townsend today, or at least talk about it. Yeah, I was just like, man, I just don't know, because there's so much to this album. And Empath is certainly an interesting album, and I think the thing that I notice about it is that, to me, it feels like the culmination of almost everything he's been doing over the past few years, for sure. And he even takes some ideas from Transcendence even further. But it has the heaviness that he's done before in some of the more chaotic moments that he's done, say on Z2, which is a more recent album that he's had that, and even going back to some of his earlier albums as well. So there's the chaos, there's the gigantic moments, there's the real beautiful epic moments that you found on Transcendence. There's even some of the softer stuff from Ghost or Key. I mean, there's a whole bunch going into this album, and it really, truly shines, I think, for the most part. And what I also really like about it is really every song has its own identity. Genesis is one of the first singles he released, and that's a really interesting track. That's definitely one of the more in-your-face songs. It's an amazing performance from him vocally, especially a little bit into the song. The blast beats kick in. It's just absolute chaos sounding, and then it kind of slows down. It gets chunkier. It's like, yeah, I can really get behind this. But Devin Townsend just sounds incredible on vocals, and I think this is overall one of his best performances, if not his best performance, period. I think he gets better and better and better as he gets older, and it's pretty incredible to listen to. Spirits Will Collide, I think, is my favorite song on the album, because just the emotions that it evokes, I think, is really well done, and it's very powerful, and very beautiful, the whole thing. And I really like when Devin Townsend does more of this sort of stuff. There's things from like Ghost and Key that I really love, and Transcendence, and Sky Blue as well. Like that he does just kind of beautiful things that aren't overly slow, maybe. And I know Ghost is more of a slow album, but man, it's just, I love that record. But yeah, it's just, he's great at the melodic, atmospheric, kind of more emotional stuff, and that song's an example of that. Evermore, I think, is one of the catchier songs on the album. I mean, there's some really great vocal hooks throughout the entire thing, and also kind of gets to another point of, like, there's some pretty, and I don't necessarily think this is bad, because I think it goes along with the music, with the vocals and the vibe of the song. There's some pretty repetitive guitar riffage on here, and there's not a ton of super standout guitar riffs on this album to me. And Evermore is one where there's some repetitive riffage that can get stuck in your head. Borderlands is another one where that can happen. But Evermore's a pretty solid song as well. Spirit's another really great, more beautiful song. Hear Me brings the energy back, brings Aniek Van Giersbergen, I apologize for that, on female vocals. Fantastic. I always absolutely love when he gets some guest artists to do female vocals or any sort of different vocal. I think it's always used really well, and this is no different. Why is also is a hilarious track, I think, and I just love the overall mood of the song. Like it feels like something you would hear in a kid's film or a fantasy film. Just something real playful, and the different voices in it. It's a really fun track to listen to, and I love how Devin Townsend can do that stuff too. Like I think about the Ziltoid albums, and how kind of fun and playful and goofy they can be, and it's so interesting to incorporate that sort of thing into this. And then you have Singularity, which ends the album, which is 23 minutes long. I'm not typically a fan of songs that long. I like long songs, don't get me wrong. But 23-minute songs typically don't get me at all. But, there's moments in Singularity for sure. It's definitely a roller coaster. It goes through a lot of different emotions in vibes, but I think for the most part it's well put together. I like the very soft intro, and then you just get to the in-your-face nature of it. And I really like the more epic ending that it has. It's a good song, but honestly, it's not one that I'm going to listen to all the time. Mostly just because of its length, honestly. So yeah, I mean that's Empath by Devin Townsend. I think this is for sure his most ambitious album. I think there's a lot of albums that you could argue that his most ambitious, but I would put my money on Empath as being that, just because it has so many elements from everything he's done for a long time now kind of thrown into it. And I think to pull it off, to throw so many things in the pot and to make something special out of it is kind of hard to do. And I think he's done that with this. And that just, this album to me shows he can do just about anything and get it to work. He's just such a talented writer and musician. And he gets a lot of supporting talent to help him record these things as well. And also Chad Kroeger's on this album. I believe Hear Me he's on, which is interesting. So yeah, Empath. 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's a really great album. Let me know what you think of it. Thanks for watching. See ya.